what is going on YouTube? This is Acid Roots. So I'm going to review the 6th album by rapper MC Hammer. Basically, this product is called Inside Out, and it came out in the late summer of 1995. So the theme of this product here is particularly the discourse between the hit album from 1994, The Funky Headhunter, kind of stirred up the product of the reception behind MC Hammer. He was kind of starting to hit like a series of snafus within some of those type pitches, particularly within the format. Now I don't know the full bound story as to the MC Hammer type product within the pitch, but basically his 1994, 95, and 96 albums were all kind of haphazard with some degree of sense, and it really caused him to go bankrupt throughout the latter half of the 90s pitches like that. It felt like every particular album was some sort of debacle within those pitches. Now, at least in 1990, when he dropped Please Hammer Don't Hurt Him, that was seen as a classic and a staple throughout a good portion. Basically a 90s staple when you think of that particular decade, pitches like that. Now, I want to say more or less Too Legit. I don't really know Too Legit to Quit that well, but I think that was like a relatively good follow-up just without the mammoth single that songs like Can't Touch This and some of those type ones particularly had. But apparently, now I gave The Funky Headhunter from 1994 a 10 out of 10. I felt like that was pretty enjoyable. Just really felt like an SFW version of like Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style and Warren G's Regulate, G-Funk era, some of those type pitches within the format. Just a real kind of healthier and just more apt and kind of more makeshift type tone, like a blue collar sense to like the particular flow of like what G-Funk was doing in the 90s. But apparently folks didn't fuck with that album as much within the full boundness, so he switched up the tone, went back to pop rap. But really, in my opinion, there's not too much of a difference between Inside Out, this particular album, and 1994's The Funky Headhunter. This one's just more gospel related. This one's just a little bit more religious bound pitches like that. But other than that, that's the only real difference between these two albums, The Funky Headhunter and this one. I felt like, folks had said that Funky Headhunter was just a little bit too much street cred pitches like that, but it's not. This album is really not that much of a discernible difference. I feel like MC Hammer was just always kind of more of a healthier rapper kind of within the first place. So the amount of folks that would somehow be able to discern the difference between the Funky Headhunter and this particular album, it's really not that large of a difference, I'd say. And like I was saying, the only real differential type aspect, this very much is still kind of hydraulics type music and Cadillac riding out in the West Coast pitches like that, some low rider type music, some of those type tones, just rolling up zigzags and drinking 40 ounces pitches like that within like the Cali Sunshine, some of those particular type fares. So it's just kind of pitch as far as saying the only difference with MC Hammer is he's just not using foul language as far as those first albums. Not to say foul language as if having a problem with cussing, but just the pitch as far as saying this within the product of it, that there's just, this is on it. It was said that like the Funky Headhunter did not have an explicit edition, but there is, if you check this album out, if you check out the Funky Headhunter on Spotify, it actually does have an explicit song on there, which is basically the song Pumps in a Bump. So that's pretty much, it's only one song out of like those particular ones, but I guess in some degree of fashion, folks complained enough about that song to be able to say that it probably would be an explicit song within those pitches, concerning Pumps in a Bump, what you would think the curves of a woman as far as those pitches. It's not within a foul sense, but it's just the pitch as far as saying, but that's just kind of the conduct of it. So this is the pitch as far as saying, but this pretty much just keeps it to like the ratio, like that Tibble type vibe. When you think of songs by like Ice Cube, like You Know How We Do It, some of those type pitches, and just that standard kind of glaze type facet. This is just MC Hammer like perfecting that particular style. Now this is gonna get like a relatively high score within the pitch. I think I'm gonna give this album like either a 9.25 or a 9.5 out of 10. This has some good aspects about it within those tones, but I just feel like that the particular fare about it is, I guess to say more or less, I'll give this album like, because there's 12 songs on this album and 10 out of 12, I wound up recommending 10 songs out of 12 on here, so 10 out of 12 would be a 9.25 out of 10. I feel like within the pitch that's just a little bit, I feel like 2 songs missing out of the 12 song package, and me recommending is a little bit high for it to be a 9.5 out of 10. So the sound's gonna get a 9.25, but within the pitch, still pretty vicious within the aspects. Just now, this is something to know going in, that this does have religious connotations, pitches like that. It's just kind of within the tone as far as saying, but I look within the aspects as far as what's first gonna happen. Very much, I like the dedication song to Eazy-E on here. Some of those type pitches within the format. This is a particularly kind of down in the dumps type product, more so than like the Funky Headhunter, which was just a glaze type one that just was very much pink and purple skies pitched like that. This particular one actually has like a funk about it that just has the aspect of really like some dim kind of aspects within the tone, where just that malaise when you think of songs by Ice Cube like You Know How We Do It and some of those type ones within the format, and other type ones like Tupac's Life Goes On, despite the fact that this album came out before that one. It's just the pitch as far as saying it just has that particular kind of sunset peering and just pitches like that. This kind of aspect of this. I mean, it's relatively face value. It's not. It has like the degree of depthiness about it within the pitch. Definitely for 1995, it has the vicious type aspect within the tone, but it kind of keeps it within like a radio snap as far as those first gonna happen. So it's just basically, it's kind of like when you would think of like a Dr. Dre or Eminem type single pitches like that, where they would have like some of those just kind of malaise type ones within a pitch. But it's just kind of fair in terms of like radio snap, considering that even in 1995 when he was starting to wane a little bit, MC Hammer still had a relative pretty banner type commercial aspect about him, that he was still kind of more or less one of the forefronts of rap music around that time. Now folks like Snoop Dogg, Tupac, Warren G, Dr. Dre were starting to surpass him within certain senses within the tone, but it's just kind of the pitch that he did still have some leftover kind of vibes within the SFW sense pitches like that. So it's just kind of the tone, but it does have a certain kind of chip on its shoulder and just kind of malaise between Eazy-E's death and just other kind of problems with the goings on within pitches like that as far as this first gonna happen, just the hardship and just the struggle as far as this pitch happen. But just within the tone as far as saying, gives it a pretty nice sheen here, I'd have to say. But just to say, there's 3 singles off this album. Really, I only recommend 2 of them. So the third single, Going Up Yonder, I don't recommend. If this song had been shortened and wouldn't have been as gospel-like on the hook on that particular song, Going Up Yonder, been shortened and hadn't been as gospel on the hook on Going Up Yonder, I probably would have recommended that song quite a bit, because most of the composition of that song I did enjoy, but not enough to even make it like an almost song. But just to say, Sultry Funk is a nice one. It's like a dope Cali Sunshine kind of G-Funk bopping to kind of get here. It's just ripped out of vintage 90s, I'd say, with an aspect behind it. Just sip a cold brew and ride as far as those pitch can happen. So easy kind of 40 ounce type music, easy kind of Corona type music, some of those type fares within the pitch as far as those fares going to happen. Getting like a nice warm, a nice crisp kind of Budweiser, some of those type pitches within the format. Just the aspects as far as those tones going to happen. Typical, just crested 90s kind of Cali Sunshine pitches like that as far as those fares going to happen. But it just does it in a very dazed and just kind of like forlorn, but just kind of gliding type sense. It's very much a glide type album, not so much amidst like the fury. Like, I feel like most of this album's theme is more past like 6 o'clock p.m. where the sun's starting to set. It's not as much like, if you're looking for a crazy song by MC Hammer, like Can't Touch This, some of those type ones, or songs like Can't Touch This or Here Comes the Hammer, some of those type pitches. This is really not amidst like the lunch rush and kind of midday craze of like something to really get things spruced up. There are some moments on that there are some moments like that on here, but it's just kind of the pitch that in terms of the singles, it's really kept like the more Pink Skies kind of sunset gazing as far as those pitch comes. Just kind of the tone as far as the aspect kind of goes. It's going with the theme as far as like the malaise type kind of just more dim aspects, but it does it within a good sense. It's just typical kind of Cali with an aspect, this sultry funk type song just with the pitch, but it's just kind of the tone. Very similar to the stuff on Funky Headhunter pitches like that, but just with a more kind of just sullen type aspect this time. A good typical Cali. Keep On's a good second single on here as well. It's like a thoughtful Keep On's like a thoughtful kind of G-Funk evening gliding kind of get here within the aspects behind it. Just a glazed kind of routine makeshift wrap up, I'd say, within the aspects here. It's kind of some Aaron's rope as far as those pitch comes. So just roping up Aaron's, getting that particular fare taken care of within the pitches behind it. This has some dim kind of atmospheres. This one's a little bit more within the makeshift type fare, just something that feels like pretty much like an answer. Keep On is not so much like a rebuke of Biggie around that particular time within those aspects, but it just kind of feels like a West Coast kind of answer to like One More Chance remix, one of the larger type songs out of rap music in 1995 pitches like that. It's just kind of a more West Coast type version within that same sort of makeshift type aspect, just like the tones of just like drifting, some of that type of just commerce of getting to like the day routine and pitches like that within those fares, but just more within like the post kind of work type sense within aspects. So it just kind of has those particular tones about it. Just kind of easy kind of orange and pink skies kind of cresting within those aspects just for 545, 615 pitches like that just within the tone. Very similar to Funky Headhunter, but once again just within a mellow type aspect, just more amidst the struggles, some of the stuff there, so just having more kind of just grit about it, just in a calmer, just more sullen type sense. Then like I was saying, I don't recommend Going Up Yonder. Main reasons why is just this song. The thing about it is, I feel like 7 minutes and 30 seconds is a little bit more lengthy than what I feel like 7.5 minutes is a little bit more lengthy than probably what should have been on here. There's a number of songs that do have a pretty apt length about them on this particular album within the pitch. I feel like probably in terms of like a single type format, I feel like probably some of these should have been shortened by at least 35 or 45 seconds, pitches like that within the tones behind. It's the same thing. Both the songs I Both the two songs I don't recommend on here are the more gospel type ones, which both of which are over 6 minutes within the tone. So the two songs I don't recommend would be Going Up Yonder and then He Keeps Doing Great Things for me within those pitches, which within the format kind of behind it, Going Up Yonder is has a good composition of being a good single pitches like that. The real I say is just kind of like some spiffy kind of early night slug kind of get here. It's a solemn song, but it's spruced up just within the tangents behind it. Has some good aspects within the tone of just being like one of those typical type ones. There's some ones on here like kind of like A Brighter Day and like some ones on this album like A Brighter Day and Everything Is Alright. Some of those type pitches that this is kind of a miss, like a hop and bop type format within the tone behind it, but this is kind of the gospel typeness on this particular song just bogs it down within the format. I mean, I think the religious connotations, if it had been more like DMX or Tech Nine or some of those type folks, or hops in within certain senses, or Afro Man as far as those pitches can have within some of those type rappers that would do it, but just not have it be like the overbearing kind of main theme, more, it just feels like the portion of it is more to like maybe over 50-60% of the song as far as this pitch can happen. MC Hammer from the seemingness only really drops like 2 verses on that particular one and then lets the choir do the rest of the work, which is just kind of pitch. It just is not terribly presentable within the aspect for folks, just not within a religious kind of context of it. This doesn't have the map out. It's just very kind of mentally distant within the format, which is not a horrible thing being mentally distant with it, but it's just kind of the concept that the religious aspect on top of that just makes it not as affable in the sense of being able to listen to. So it's just kind of tone is getting towards it. Good song concept, like the concept of that particular song would have been better if it just would have just not been as like kind of religious heavy within the aspect, but it's just a good type pitch for it, but not enough to recommend. So yeah, this album gets a 9.25 out of 10 pitches like that. Like I said, 10 out of 12. So the other songs on here, pitches like that. I Need That Number is a real nice one. It's like A Day After Hours, kind of cut loose, kind of get here. Just a hangout gem, I'd say, within those aspects. Goes with Anything Goes on the Dance Floor, I would definitely say. And this is like a good song for some cooling pitches like that. So definitely good pajama cat, cool cat kind of vibes within pitches like that. Just kind of fashion, some kickback, just a smoother type sense, more within the fashion, and just low-key type simping pitches like that, having some Beezies nearby. For the most part, this is not too terribly a Beezy-centric type project within the aspect behind it. It's kind of kept, or the flames are just not as much within the full-blown aspect behind it. I feel like this is just more within the glum type fashion and just kind of the struggle and just the aspects of like the hero that goes along with it, but it's just kind of the tone. There are some kind of mingle type moments on here, but they're just kind of sprinkled and spiced in within some of the pitch as far as the fair is going to happen. Nothing But Love, a song for Easy, is a real nice one. It's like a Malaise combo with Keep On, I'd have to say here. Really works real well with that. It's like a Sunset Gaze kind of pour some drink out as far as this pitch kind of happens. So just with the aspects of this, has pretty much the same sort of composition as Keep On, just with the aspect of this being more designated to Eazy-E, who had passed just a few months before this album came out within those pitches as far as those first gonna happen. So just from the aspect as far as saying is getting that particular composition. It's pretty dope because MC Hammer actually did know Eazy-E around that time, so it's just from the pitch as far as saying this is a good aspect of like a tribute song within those pitches, considering that was a particular format that was amongst like rap music in 1995. Because it did feel like, thinking of Eazy-E's death, Tupac did not as much dedicate a song to Eazy-E pitches like that. And I realize, I know that Tupac at least met Eazy-E maybe minorly, briefly, pitches like that. But in terms of the folks that had something to say, Dr. Dre did wind up dedicating a song to Eazy on 2001, but it just came out years later within those pitches. It took until 1999, so it's just kind of within the pitch as far as saying, just felt like the concept of that aftermath was kind of there. But it's just a good, nice one, just good tribute type song. Just reminds in a lot of senses like Tupac, Life Goes On, some stuff pitches, just that same sort of the same sort of malaise gliding pitches like that as far as those fairs going to go. I Hope Things Change is a nice one as well. It's like a Tupac kind of keep your head up vibes that I'd say within the pitch behind it. It's kind of a slumped. The song is like some slumped kind of dim sunshine pitches like that. Just kind of smoke some of the particular type aspects about the song as far as this fair is going to happen. Just good for some comedy to miss that fair. So just kind of some further type ones within the pitch, similar to songs like Nothing But Love, a song for Easy, and Keep On, some of those type aspects. Just more within that particular morose type format of disc struggle passage and pitches like that, just the format of just bucking like the particular adverse and just pitches like that within those pairs. But just kind of conduct as far as saying this has the particular aspects as far as getting towards those tones. Really has some good composition. Anything Goes on the Dance Floor is a real hot one though. This is kind of the aspect. I feel like this album, the the aspect behind this particular pitch behind is just the tone, as far as saying that just as far as the fury of this particular album is just, like I said, it doesn't have like those red hot type ones that Hammer was known for in like the early 90s as far as those pitches can happen. This is more of a mellow type album, more slumped and solemn type album, but there are some moments for like that spruce up within a pitch. This kind of secretive with an aspect, but there are some moments on it here in like a low-key type sense, like a vintage kind of 90s Vanilla Ice and Cypress Hill kind of like House Party Snarl kind of get within these aspects here. Just kind of pitch really like the kind of the slink of like the way the chorus kind of turns out within the fashion. Just really feels like something Vanilla Ice would have done with like To the Extreme, some of those type pitches. Just feels ripped out of like standard kind of frat party pitches like that, or just standard kind of house party, red cup, frat party pitches like that. Some of those particular type fairs are just hella Hennessy, and some of those type of Connex Crown Royal pitches like that within those fairs. Definitely accent type tone. Definitely could have used more moments like this, but there is actually a handful of these. Like Bustin' Loose is another nice one that kind of does that here. This gives like Cypress Hill and Montel Jordan kind of occasion vibes. This one's a little bit healthier, I'd have to say. Anything Goes on the Dance Floor just has a little bit more red cup in mind with like the slink of getting some smokage pitches like that as far as this is going to go. But this one, both these particular albums have a little bit of Cypress Hill type vibes, just that conduct when you think of songs like Hand on the Pump and How I Could Just Kill a Man, just some of that particular kind of spastic kind of pizzazz about it as far as those pitches kind of goes. Just the aspect as far as saying it's kind of halfway schizo, but this kind of has the pitch of just doing that within a more Montel Jordan kind of just. Bustin' Loose does it more in like a schizo, but kind of more Montel Jordan kind of healthy, kind of sports game type aspect of just getting to like some tear up pitches like that, I'd have to say. It was just kind of within that hop to it kind of motivation type vibe, and just in a more aspected kind of an occasion type vibes, pitches like that, just kind of a healthy type party, some of those type aspects within the tone. But yeah, it's just some Montel Jordan kind of occasion vibes, Cypress Hill pitches like that. It's like a mellow but rowdy kind of banging type tune within the pitch. So this is kind of the product. There's not many songs out this particular album that have like the thorough set of like MC Hammer at like his complete craziest in like the early 90s pitches like that, but it's just kind of aspect as far as saying it's just kind of like some haphazard kind of get crunk a little bit within those tones. It's really the fast that it just kind of bittersweet kind of bite. It's kind of some bittersweet kind of hype as far as those pitches can happen. Just the forlornness, but just having the aspect of just being upside down, but still having the pitches, still being able to get crunk some of those type moments within the in-between type fashions, or just within the tones behind it. Love and Happiness is a quality one, as well as like a basic Orange Skies kind of glide, I'd have to say here. This combos pretty well with sultry funk, I'd say, within those aspects. It's like a good song to throw up the W pitches like that, some of those type fares, and just grab some pick-me-up, some of those particular type fares within the conduct of it. So it's just the pitch as far as saying, just grab some pick-me-ups, pitches like that. Just kind of miss the format of just standard snack runs, picking up like a box of beer, some of those particular type tones, chirping the homies, figuring out what's particular going on within those aspects behind it, as far as the aspects kind of figuring out where the homies are at as far as those aspects kind of happen just within the pitch behind it. So it just has that particular fare, is just getting towards like the crunk fashion as far as those pitches will kind of happen. It's kind of amidst like some day sunshine, just more amidst like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. I mean, just kind of has that particular day fare about it, just within. Love and Happiness is just like some standard glide type music for like the day sunshine as far as those fares can happen, just amidst like this hop and bop kind of maybe hitting up a video store, picking up a DVD or two, some of those stuff pitches, just extra kind of snack runs and pitches like that. So just kind of miss the fare, just more typical to like 94 kind of MC Hammer pitches like that, I had to say, within those aspects there. But this really feels, I mean, the thing about MC Hammer in a lot of senses is it just kind of gives off like vintage kind of California vibes just from the pitch. I think in a more healthy type sense, Snoop Dogg kind of had these vibes, but it's just not as threatening within the format. Just is a little bit more, not so much to say full-bound family friendly, but just within the pitch as far as saying that it's just not as feral within the aspect as far as like the snarl behind it, and just kind of like fuck you type mentality, within the ravenous type sense. So it's just the pitch as far as saying just some standard kind of hop and bop type vibes within the pitch, is just kind of getting some pick-me-ups, box of beer, some of stuff for us, figuring out where the homies are at, and getting ready to chirp some bells, pitches like that as far as those person goes. This is the pitch. Same thing with A Brighter Day. This is a good, nice one as well. It's like a throwback to early 90s kind of Hammer vibes kind of get here. This is just a bopping type one, grab some goodies, pitches like that. Just kind of amidst like the Cali shine as far as those pros going to go. So just the pitch. Some of these standard type ones, just easy kind of going pitches like that. Like I was saying, just the concept of disc, getting to like video stores, picking up a DVD or two, some of those particular type products of disc, figuring out like the standard kind of day commerce just within the spare moments type fare. So it's just kind of the pitch. There are a series of makeshift songs on this particular album, but some of these type ones more in the fashion do have like the extra aspects of just figuring out where the commerce is at as far as just getting towards the concept of getting like the zigzags and the big gliders and pitches like that within those tones. Chex Mix and Bugles, some of those type fares within it, Frozen Burritos, I'd have to say. So it's just the pitch as far as saying. I think there's one more song another song I don't think I've talked about on here, which is Everything Is Alright. It's like a glowy but malaise kind of city strut to kind of go within these aspects. It's kind of a snack run just out in like the day sky kind of commerce as far as those fares going to go. So it's just that same sort of upside down type format within the pitch as far as those pairs will kind of happen. Just kind of within the same aspect as like busting loose, some of those type of appeals where it's kind of haphazardly fun within the pitch, but just kind of has the product of just like the typical kind of fare. Some of this album is kind of bittersweet within a sense, but it does have some of these moments on here like A Brighter Day, Anything Goes on the Dance Floor, and like I Need That Number do have some of those type of moments, but just it kind of goes through like this is kind of bittersweet chipper as far as those pairs can have within the tones behind it, so there's good aspects there. But I think I basically talked about all 10 of these songs. So just to say this album gets a 9.25 out of 10. The social score, I don't know, that's trickier within the sense I feel like some of these songs are popular within the aspect enough behind it, but it's just kind of the religious kind of fare behind it just makes it really, particularly what MC Hammer needed was a song that could have had like the same turn up type energy. I just think when he nailed that particular Rick James song within the pitch of talking about like Can't Touch This, just those particular aspects, it's not as if MC Hammer didn't have further hit songs, but it's just kind of the pitch as far as saying getting to that sort of spiffiness within the conduct is something that could have been club related. I mean, I will say that within the aspect this has perked me to want to review like the unreleased 1996 album that MC Hammer worked on with Tupac, and I'd have to question if he had a song like California Love on there, some of those type pitches, but I just feel like MC Hammer kind of in a lot of senses went with more ride type songs, more within like the G-Funk kind of cresting and just like more evening type music. And I feel like I think MC Hammer either needed a song for like lunch rush kind of pitch of the afternoon to really get folks hype and excited, like Can't Touch This, or he needed like a pitch of the night type song for like 10 o'clock at night to really get things going. And I don't know as full bound if like MC Hammer purposely avoided that, or it's just the pitch as far as saying that he just was not conscious enough to realize that he needed to do it. But there just were a lot of wasted moments where he could have had a follow up hit that could have been as large. It's not so much I wanted him to copy like Can't Touch This, but just kind of within the pitch of just something that's another Kickstarter that has that particular fury. And I feel like within the aspect, Bustin' Loose and Anything Goes on the Dance Floor are good type songs, but not within the concept of something that just has like that mammoth hook or something that could be, just an earworm kind of consistently repeatable. And that's probably like the consistent complaint that most folks probably say about MC Hammer is they just want another song like Can't Touch This. And not as full bound me saying that within the pitch, but just getting a good dance single that could be something that's kind of like how Tupac had California Love, and then he had How Do You Want It, some of those type ones, and he had Temptations on the 1995 album and songs like that, songs that pitches, you just would look after it. But, club staples like Hail Mary, some of those type ones within the format and hit 'em up, some of those type tones and ambitions as a writer. But just being able to say I look after it, then the products behind it, I would say, in terms of social fare, I do like these late day kind of gliding songs within the aspect as far as those fares going to happen, and just getting done with the SFW kind of work shift fare as far as those pitches going to happen, just to miss like the conduct of cooling off and some of those particular, and miss like the conduct of cooling off and just getting towards like a more wind down type fashion within the tone. I'd say on top of that, just within the aspect, some of these type of relative kind of in between kind of house party type fashions within the pitch as far as like the turn up within the pen, like the relative type turn up within a sense do have like some good type moments on here, but it's just kind of the aspect it just feels like more glancing blows from MC Hammer more so than like the full blown aspect of something that could have been like the uppercut or like the knockout punch as far as this person happens. It's not to say I realized with like the hardships and the hero that was kind of going on, it kind of has the haphazardness of just being a more sullen type album within the pitch. But it's just kind of the product that just has less sting about it than was probably necessary within the pitch. This gets a 9.25 out of 10, but I don't know. I'm trying to think of how I would score the social album. It's kind of between like the religious connotations and like the relative, like between like the religious connotations and the lack of connect with like the singles, and then just the aspect of like not really having like a real dance feel like some of his earlier days. I'd say within the pitch, probably the social score would probably get like a 9 out of 10, I just would say within pitch. It's definitely good within the aspect. It has these tones on here. It does have some fun moments like I Need That Number, and like Sultry Funk is pretty fun. Bustin' Loose and Anything Goes on the Dance Floor. Some of these type moments are pretty nice on here. Pitches like that. Some of these snack run type pep songs do have the aspect behind it. But it's this kind of pitch in terms of something that's going to be like the attention grabber pitches like that. Like the way that Tupac kind of effortlessly did California Love and How Do You Want It. Some of those type pitches. I don't know. It's not so much that MC Hammer couldn't do it, but it's this kind of aspect as to why it just didn't happen. It's just kind of within the pitch. It's just that he was given a series of albums to be able to attempt it, but this was kind of the aspect. This felt kind of curious. But it's not like this is a bad album. It just doesn't have like the knockout punch as far as those first albums. It's just in the pitch as far as saying, but yeah, 9 social. In terms of future, like MC Hammer does have some further type products. He did have an unreleased album that he worked on with Tupac that I do want to get to review in pitches like that to see the fair about how that particularly kind of goes. Then he dropped one further album in 1998, and then that basically wraps it up. But then there's the rest of his albums from the 80s and 90s to get to pitches like that. I do want to review Please Hammer, Don't Hurt 'Em, some of those type pitches, just to see the dynamite of that particular album, and probably the follow-up banger, Too Legit to Quit, some of those type pitches. But we'll get to some of those within the format. But this is pretty good, solitary type album within pitch. It is a dimmer type album, just an aspect very sullen, like the tone of disc, like some struggle, grit, and pitches like that. As far as the format's going to go, it just has the aspect of disc kind of approaching things from a different angle, of not just being, just having that Cali sunshine, but just in a more glum type aspect. So it nails it on those fronts. But it's just kind of the pitch as far as saying could have been a little bit more social. The aspects of the religion might have been toned down. The aspects of the religion might have been toned down like a minor notch or two, but other than that, it's pretty damn good with the aspect. Just definitely blistering over a 9 score pitch like that. So 9.25 pitches like that.